Do I'm not gonna stay live that long. I'm not gonna stay live that long just because I'm not. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know because it's only 11:43. I was asleep for a long time. I gotta be at work tomorrow by fuck. What time do I have to go? 6:30. I think 6 o'clock. I'm not sure. Maybe I think I have to look at the schedule. I want to say this though, just because I feel like I have to. Um, for starters, it's Sunday night. It's 11:44, 11 about 15 minutes, almost about 15 minutes until it's 12. Um, I'm not trying to make fun of Queenie. I'm not. When you do it to yourself is when you sit there and say, "Jesus, what the fuck are you thinking?" Hey, what's going on, Betty? Betty, um, I was talking about you today. I had said because we were talking. There's some new person in this community, and they're from where you're from, kind of, not really. And they were going on and on about. We were going on and on about accents, like Jersey accents, fucking Boston accents. And we there's this girl named Puerto Rican. I don't know if it's Puerto Rican princess or queen, or if it's Portuguese queen 83, I think. Anyways, I ain't gonna lie. I had thought that that Portuguese bride was somebody else because it's around the same age. But then I said, no, that can't be who I think it is. And then she went on the panel and she talks like she's from the East Coast for sure. Maybe like at first I thought New York, but she's from Boston, I guess. And they were saying, I was like, have you ever spoken to somebody like that was straight up just being themselves? And I said, well, yeah, I've spoken to Betty before. I said, I've spoken to Betty before. And I'll say this, when you look at her, and if she didn't speak, you would think she had a very, very like soft, girly, like very, very, very very soft voice. But Betty, her voice, her accent, because of her accent, it comes off like aggressive. Like she like trying like if she got mad at somebody, like she would get like it would sound meaner than anything. Sound like she's trying to fight. But it's just how she talks. It's not that like if she's aggressive. Like I can, I'm not what to say imagine, but I could like see Betty and then have her voice like when she speaks, you would say, okay, I get, it's instantly a Jersey accent, like right away. And to me, that's just very unique because I'm not used to it. But the New York accent, for some reason, the New York accent sucks. I hate the New York accent. Your Jersey accent, I kind of grew up on just because I watched I watched a lot of stuff that had to do with Jersey and then the Jersey Shore, and then hearing them talk. It would never had a New York accent, or the Boston accent it just sounds different. Like over there, you guys' accent is just way really really different. Um, but your because of you being Italian, it has that very unique thing. Like okay, how can I explain it? So that lady from you ever seen the Bronx Tale where the New York accent had you could hear it, but that lady she actually had a similar. The mom I think had like a Jersey type of accent. And I think that's what she was trying to portray because she was from Jersey, and she met the dad in New York, and she got with him and ended up living there. So the Jersey, when you hear like the girls from Jersey Shore talk, it just sounds. I don't know. People, everybody's different, but it's just especially the Italian. Like that shit's really like I don't know, very unique. It's kind of cool sometimes, but the New York accent just sucks. The Boston accent just sucks. It just does. Oh, she really was? I didn't know that they used her. I thought she was older. Maybe she got really old. She's not the lady from Sopranos that kills her husband. Like she's Tony Soprano's like sister and shit. And I guess her husband was like a lieutenant or something. And he was supposed to be Godfather, but I think because of who Tony Soprano's uncle was, is how he got the position. But even though, like at one point, that dude was above Tony, and then Tony ended up suppressing him and shit. But she, I don't know, like these people, like if you hear their accent, it just sounds way different. Like like you, when I hear you talk, when I hear you speak to me, your voice like at first it didn't like to me it just didn't go with you because it seems like because your picture and everything like how you look you look like you're like very petite delicate, but then I had to look at you a little more and I said, you know what, I could tell that yeah, it does go with it. Like I could picture, I could see it everything. And that's what I was explaining to I don't know if it was Redzi, yeah, because that Portuguese girl, like I've been around Portuguese people here and they do not sound like that. And I was like, damn, it really matters where you're from because the Portuguese people here, like they're way different. My aunt, she's married to a Portuguese man, and we used to spend I used to spend time with him and his family. We used to go to their parties all the time, and I would hang out with his dad and his mom whenever like they brought us around. But the dad and them, they kind of come off Mexican, to be honest. Like you see white people, and then when you hang out with them, it just depends. But they're like similar to us. Like the Mexican people, the way that their tradition, we'd be in the house and you would think, oh, like I used to feel like I had to be proper because I'd be around them because they look white. But then when you see how they act and you see how they're laid back and the stuff that they like talk about, it reminded me of like a Mexican family, like when I'm at my grandma's house and all them are it's the same shit. But then when you hear them talk, it's kind of funny. I used to laugh all the time. Yeah, I haven't got a chance to talk to that lady, Portuguese, queen, whatever her name is. She was trying to talk to me in the chat, but I think it was shit talking for a minute. But anyways, Betty, I'll reach out to you maybe Tuesday because I have to be at work early tomorrow. Not super early. Well, to me, early is like 3 or 4 in the morning. When I see 6 o'clock or 6, 7, I don't really like sit there and think, oh, that's early. To me, 6 o'clock in the morning is not early. My whole life growing up, it was always 3 or 4 or 5. Anything before 5 o'clock was always early. Yeah, yeah, I gotta go back in, and I'm off Tuesday. But okay, I'm not trying to make this a long live stream. Anyways, I was gonna I was on LL stream and we were talking, and I was trying to explain to Queenie what she was doing, And Queenie made it seem like I was afraid to battle her and shit. Let me tell you something. I'm not proud of it, but a lot of people here on this side of the fence, like they don't really know Queenie like that. I only know Queenie because of like the details of Queenie. I only knew a lot of that shit because of Jess, a few people, because she came from Mosh's side of the fence, where a lot of them were all those freedom truck, freedom rider, I don't know, freedom people, fucking people that care about all that government shit and the conspiracies and all whatever. And she's over with Mosh and shit. So I was aware of her for a long time. And Jess had told me things about her, and I've seen it with my own eyes. I've witnessed it with my ears and eyes and everything, and every sense. I witnessed everything. So I already knew how to talk shit to her. But a lot of people here, they didn't. So whenever she would fight with people or try to be mean to people, um, I would be like, okay, it depends. She knew not to fuck with me because I knew a lot about her. But the thing about it, she was fucking with a friend of mine's. And when at that time, I was like, you know what? I had sat there and said, hey man, chill the fuck out. Anybody I'm cool with, if they're not really trying to fight with people and shit, then I'm gonna do it. I've all like even with like a Roscoe one time, fucking Lydia was messing with Roscoe, and I had to go fucking go to Lydia and be like, "Hey, what the fuck? What's going on? Fool? What's going on?" She get mad. But anyways, I fucking Queenie fucking went stop. I fucking made so I went at Queenie and I fucking said some shit to her, made her cry. I'm probably the only one that made her cry on here, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying like it just pissed me off and shit. But so the thing I was trying to say when I was at LL's was, you are battling with Nikki and you could win. Like Nikki don't know like Queenie, I would say when she was battling Nikki, I could say she was winning. I could say she was dominating Nikki just because Nikki like didn't expect her to come at her like this. So Nikki wasn't ready. I guess you could say she wasn't ready to come at her. And on a fair battle, Queenie was winning. But then they started talking about, I don't know, it came off like they were fighting for Jake. And I started tripping out because I've said this to Redzy, I've said this to several other people too. And I said, I don't see what you guys see in that dude, like even as a person. Like to me, I feel like he's just a waste of time and he don't really care about life the way that people with kids should care. You're willing to do something and to get yourself into trouble, and your pride is bigger than your fucking what than it should be. Then it's like, dude, like it's like I just never really had respect for that guy, and I never really cared to even whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't really care for him. Like what I mean. But I just sit there and say when Nikki and Queenie were arguing, it came off like they were fighting for that fool. And I was just like, dude, like you guys sit there and you clown Redzy Mac for being with the dude. I think deep down she's trying so hard to shake away from it because I think she knows that it's not that it's embarrassing, everybody makes mistakes and everybody deals with stuff like this and shit happens. My thing was I never wanted to be put on blast about, being like I don't know what certain things. But Queenie, what made you lose the battle to me personally was when you guys started going low with each other, you started bragging about being like messed with as a kid and shit. And I'm sitting there thinking, why would anybody want to brag about that? Oh yeah, and then she told Nikki, oh, you weren't good looking enough for a man to touch you. And I was sitting there thinking in my head, like, but that's stupid. Like, and then you're bragging about getting paid. You're bragging about getting paid for this shit too. And I'm thinking, How do you win? Money, the thing about money is money, it goes and it comes. It's always going to be here, yes. And there's always you ways you can get it. You can earn it, you can steal it, or you can win it. And I look at it, I'd rather earn it. Stealing it at this time, and it's just not worth it. Winning is cool. It's not the same as earning it though. But when you sit there and you just receive it, where it comes to you for free without having to earn it, you didn't win shit. It's just like you have to only look at it at one of the three usually when it comes to that, and you just receiving it for your trauma. Well, the thing is trauma when it starts, it's hard to get rid of. And honestly, it never really goes away. A lot of people deal with trauma for life, but some might bury it and hide it, but a lot of people can't do that. Some people could, no matter how old you are, some people can never just grow up from it. People, like, you could sit there and see somebody in their late 30s and their late 40s and 50s will still sit there and talk about how stuff happened. Like they could have good childhood, but the thing is, there's other issues why you are the way you are. Everybody has issues, but some people just can't shake those issues. Some people just can't stop. They can't stop, and you can hear the pain from them because deep down they want to stop whatever addiction that you have. And to sit there and you think about it when it comes to this whole situation with children and adults, it's just you sit there and you have to look at it like it's not right. It's fucked up. And what kid, even that kid that grew up, why would they want to remember any of this shit? Why you think, I sit there and say, I said what I said years ago and it gets used against me forever practically. That's why I said trauma never leaves because people are never gonna let it leave you. As long as the person's still alive that did the trauma to you, long as it's you're still alive, the trauma's never gonna go. Money always gonna go. You're gonna your money's always gonna go. It's gone. And you can't take it with you. It's just there's no point. You could live your life and do what you gotta do to fucking enjoy it. Fight for it to enjoy it. But it's just that trauma. Someone on the internet had said, and I'm not trying to talk shit, but somebody on the internet said years ago that they could go somewhere, go on vacation, and they could have the best time in their life. But when the vacation's over, it's over. It hits you. And it depends, like some people can end a vacation and just be happy to go back to work. I'm happy to go back to work. Vacation was fun, but it was a vacation. You go back to work. But those people, like some people, they just can't. It bothers them. It's like they can't live in reality anymore. They have to escape it, and when they escape it, it's good. But when they come back to it, it hits you hard, really hard. It's like you feel like you never was on vacation, but you're using your trauma and you're trying to like what makes you cry is what makes you happy. What makes you happy is what makes you cry. It's like when you bragged about that and you told Nikki that she wasn't good looking enough to be messed around with by an adult, that doesn't make Nikki lose. That makes Nikki, well, regardless of what she looks like, but it makes her win because it's like you guys went low and you went even lower, but on yourself. As you're speaking of that, don't it ever cross your mind, the trouble, the way you felt, how you felt like there was no hope in the world, that there was nobody was there to fight for you. There's nobody there to stop it. Nobody there to fucking be there for you and try to help you. There was nothing, and you had to sit there, and that shit you had to deal with for however long you dealt with it. You hoping it just stop, and you choose to use that to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm better than you because I'm better looking than you as a kid." It's stupid. It's the most ignorant thing anybody could say. It doesn't come off as a victory. It comes off as a loss. It comes off as a scar that stays there forever. Every time when these people do bring this shit up about stuff, what happened, it don't really what pisses me off about my situation is my dad didn't raise me. My whole life, I always wanted my mom and my dad to be there for me. And I had to always fight for that. And fighting for what? For nothing. When they didn't even want to be there. You fight and you don't even know as a kid what you think you're fighting for your family to be together. They should be the ones fighting for it. They didn't even want to. And I had to find out the hard way. So yeah, my issue with my trauma has to do with my dad not being there. My dad basically choosing another family over me, and I looked at that as I was the problem, and I wasn't good enough, so it bothered me. It always bothered me to not be good enough for your parents. And you would think as a real parent, would it bother you if you're good enough for your kids? Because it bothers me. That's why I do what I can to make sure that, I am good enough for them. And I am. They never told me they weren't. They never said, but it's just that you use this trauma and you use it as try to way to get a victory out of it. That shit don't work. If anything, it just makes it worse. It's like who really wins in this? Because I know Nikki don't lose, but the thing about people is you don't see me using my dad not being there in my life. You don't see me using that in battles to fucking win. But a lot of these people, they will use and they twist the stories, and they will use that because they can't. See, if Nikki would have used that instantly to fight you, then it would mean that she was desperate and she couldn't win. She didn't use it though. That's why I said you were winning until you fucking. It's like what they say about when you're trying out for sports or when you're trying out for I think don't cut yourself. You work hard to get on the team, but if you get cut, at least get cut by the coaches, but don't get cut by yourself. Don't cut yourself out. Don't cheat yourself, basically. You guys need to learn how to fucking you guys need to learn how to go into this shit and look at a person and know how to talk shit about them without having to go at them for this shit that everybody else does. A lot of people are not clever enough. That's the thing about people that are supposed to be smart. Is you guys are supposed to be really smart and you guys don't know how to fucking come at a person yet. You guys go to the same old bullshit everybody else uses when they don't know how to talk shit to somebody. Betty, you know Tony? I've never met Tony. I'm only aware of Tony based off of seeing him in chat. I've heard him speak one time, and I'll have to say this. I understand why a lot of motherfuckers don't come on the internet and go on panels and talk. I think when you put a bunch of nerds together, they get comfortable enough to go on to go on panels and talk because they don't have somebody like me to basically bully them for how lame their voices sound when they talk. But I've heard Tony before. He's YouTube cut. Yeah, he. I don't have a problem with him. He don't really say much about me. But when I've heard him speak, he sounds really nerdy. And then it starts to make me think that girl that he was dating, that white girl, Lemonade, they all say she's a good looking chick. That just like they all say that BB is a good looking chick. But then you sit there and think BB will show herself, but you'll never get to see from her nose up. And you would want to think like, oh, well, they don't want people to see her face. Like, she's showing herself anyways. But maybe she has ugly eyes or something. I don't know. But people like you sit there and you think, okay, how is this nerdy ass motherfucker gonna get this chick? So then he sits there and thinks, well, maybe the chick ain't so great. Maybe she, she don't come on camera or she don't really try to show herself because, what a girl. I'm gonna tell you something. Growing up, they had this thing called the party line, right? And I got introduced to that when I was like 13 years old. And when I used to go on there, we would just play around and be stupid. But then when we started going on there when we were like 15, 16 years old, a lot of the girls that would be on there would be around the same age or probably a little older. And we would just sit there and try to guess. There was a couple of times where there was a girl, I think we were in Milpitas, and there was this girl that she was from Berryessa. She wanted to meet up with us, and she said she was going to a park. This girl, she came with her sisters, right? This girl, her voice, she had a very pretty voice, it was very delicate. You just sound very girly girl, whatever, but she sounded like she was, like she was off the hook. And so, anyways, we go and meet up with this chick, and she's some fat white girl. And we know it's her because we could hear it in her voice, and we knew right away, oh, yeah, you do have a nice voice, but you're just really huge, lady. You're a big girl. And it happens. There's always people that have these voices where they don't fit the part. A lot of the girls I've been involved with on here, whether it was friendship or whether it was um, just like trying to see what's going on, maybe trying to see what's up, maybe like that. A lot of the girls I talk to on the phone, a lot of them that know me offline, I asked them, I used to, when I would be drinking or whatever, I'd ask them. I asked Christina the same thing. I remember when I asked Christina, I said, because we were drinking together. And I asked her, I said, what is about you? What is it about me that you like me? What, like, just be honest. And she said, before, she said, well, to be fair, because she didn't like me in the beginning, and me and her used to fight all the time. And she talked a lot of shit to me. But then when we started talking on the phone, hanging out a lot, she would always say, I like listening to you talk. I like to sit there and hang out with you, and you talk a lot, but you always have something interesting to say. And they would just like talking to me. And that's always what every girl has told me. They were like, yeah, I like talking to you. You come off like you're really cool and everything. The only problem I've ever had with you was that you do talk a lot of shit. You can be really mean. And they sit there and say, you could be really mean. And it's weird because I remember I'm not gonna say any names, but there was a time where a person said, when I talk to you, sometimes I have to remind myself that who you are and how you could be. Because sometimes when I listen to you speak, I'm thinking the person that I hear talking, they don't match. They don't match what you are, how you are. You know what I mean? Like, how can I explain it? I was just saying this about Betty earlier about how Betty looks like she's real delicate, but when she talks, her voice sounds like she'll like try to fight you and shit. Like she's real rowdy. She sounds like she's rowdy. Not that I'm saying it's not an attractive voice. To me, there's nothing wrong with a girl that has a like not a deep. I would never say deep, but a very strong voice. I guess you could say. Sometimes people get mad when you say deep, when another way of saying strong, where it looks like, I don't know. I've never was told that I had a girl voice. I was never told like, how Cortez, but that's pretty much the main thing that they would say. He's like, yeah, you're whether however they like my looks or whatever, but that's usually what it is that they like talking to me. You know, a lot of these dudes get mad on it. Joe gets mad to hear me speak, and I just talk real calm. But then they say, "Oh yeah, but when you sit there and you listen to you speak is one thing, but then to see you get mad, everything's different. When you get mad, that whole sweet, calm, and collective voice goes away. It's like it's a whole different fucking person. So they just sit there and they're like." They can't believe it. They're like, this is the guy that is really nice, has a very calm voice, but when he gets mad, everything, all that shit goes away. It's now he's rowdy and he's mean and he's a fucking all this shit. And they're like tripping out. Like it's just like this person doesn't go with that person. They're two different like entities, I guess you could say. Whatever that fucking word is. They're two different people. And I was like, damn, that sucks because the person that they love or the person that they like a lot is the calm and the sweet, whatever. They like that side of me. They don't like it when I get mad. When I get mad, that's how I lose them. Like I remember Casey told me, she says, I don't like it when you get mad. He's like, you're a whole different person. I think all of them, every girl, any girl I've ever been around, they've always said that same shit. I don't like it when you get mad. It's crazy. There's only one person that did like it when I got mad, and it was my kid's mom. She says when I get mad, it's different. I said it's what she's used to. She likes that shit, but she likes like it would get me. It would make me even more mad that she would tell me that shit. But yeah, I was just trying to talk about this stuff. I wasn't trying to go on to a big old situation. Tony, I don't have anything against you, man. Like I said, I just thought you sound really nerdy, and that was it. Nothing personal, no harm, no foul. I don't know if Andy Cruz is restreaming me. I heard he was restreaming LL, and that was it. I don't really know. Other than that, no, it's already been live for 17 minutes longer than I said I was. Mm. But it's fun seeing Nikki and Queenie fight. I'm not gonna lie. I like seeing like Red Z fight certain people, but not all the time Nikki. when Nikki and her fight, it just doesn't come off like cool. You know, it comes off pathetic in a way because Redzi, she's the type of person that should be like above it and not be beneath it. And with Nikki, it's just not a winnable battle. It's hard to battle somebody that in life has, and with proven facts, has more than what you have because most of the time here, people go based off of that more. And the things you've done compared to her is just can't be compatible. It's not, you can't compare. As a person, as certain things, there's similarities to a lot of things. That's what makes you guys similar. But she, as a person, it's just doesn't. It don't come off like it's not something you want to see, because it's like you should be above it, and when you come off and you get down and dirty, it just looks unclassy. And the idea is to remain classy, and if to change that, it just, I don't know, it just that's what makes it disappointing. And with Nikki, it just makes it disappointing because you're fighting a losing battle. You don't have the muscle, you don't have the right uh you're as a between like someone like me going at Red Z Mac means more, and it affects more because of the fact that I know how to talk shit better than you both personally. But when it comes to talking shit, in my prime or in when I could go in on Redzi, I can go in and I can tell a story that it's just really good shit. It's the best shit. It's what gets people out of bed. It's what gets me more than 100 plus because of my voice and my shit talking abilities. I'm really good at it. But because of me being friends with her and me not trying, me like trying to be like, I don't know. It's hard for me to be in full form of talking shit to someone that I know personally, not like full personally, but enough. I've been really good at not doing these things because before, and thank God for some acknowledgement to it. But for me not to like, so that way I would not do it again. But if it wasn't for a lot of the shit that I've done to people, and for me to be where I'm at now, I would have done way more to some people recently that I've had issues with. But because of the fact that I didn't want to feel that way again, and because of the fact that I didn't want to hurt those people, and being pissed off, being angry, it's not like it can go and come, but when it goes away for a while, and you can keep it away as long as you want. Oh fuck! Scared the fuck out of me. I think she thought because the dog's barking, she probably thought that somebody was by her car, so she locked it just to make sure it was locked. But then I think she realizes that I'm right here, so she probably didn't know. Shit scared the shit out of her. She put her alarm on. Probably went to the restroom. Yeah, but it's better to fucking. It's better that I don't do the things I used to do anymore. I don't know if I could. Like, I'm happy because what I would used to do to people when they used to make me mad or when I felt like they betrayed me and shit, I used to fucking do some fucked up shit on here, and I haven't even did anything close to that to some of the people recently. I'm actually very happy that I didn't because those people, they don't, none of these people really deserve it. It's just like I said, anger, fucking. Over time, I control it. I can control it way better now. Way better. It's like I said, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of fucking shit to get me that mad. There's no reason for me to fight with anybody on here anymore. There's no reason for me to go low or go crazy with people. And I just leave people alone. You know, it sucks though because we lost a lot of cool people in our lives. I lost a lot of good friends because of me being angry and pissed off. But you just gotta move on and fucking leave it alone. You can't fix it anymore. But Queenie, I will say this: don't bring up that shit and tell people you're proud of it. Proud of it. It's very low class. Very fucking stupid of you to do that. That's what makes Nikki the victorious today. It makes her victorious tonight because you just shit on yourself. You made yourself look really stupid. You went in there winning and you fucking went out losing. This was definitely a case of you can win the battle, but you cannot win the war. I could lose a lot of battles on here and have all these people sit there and be happy and be joyful because they made me mad. But in the end, I'm going to win the war because they didn't corrupt me. They didn't make me do what they wanted, which take my life or fucking get locked up. They didn't get what they wanted, truly. And every time I get just a little bit of successful or any type of happiness or anything that is good in the world that comes my way, I win every time. They want me to lose and they don't get what they want from me. They only get maybe a couple of bags of chips and some candy. They don't get everything that they want. And little by little they don't get nothing. All they do is they go into chats, they talk about me, they say a bunch of dumb things about me, and they're hoping that I'm watching the chat. They're hoping that I see what they're writing, and they're hoping that I go live and get mad about it. And the fact that I don't do that, it just they keep trying, and they're not going to stop trying. They're not going to stop. They're not going to give up. But every time that I don't give the reaction that they want, it pisses them off. It does. But anyways, I gotta go. It's already late. I'm gonna go fucking chill for a second and just go lay down and go to sleep. Number two with no fries. All right, fool. All right, Betty. You have a good day at the rest of your day at work, fool. I'm gonna get the show on the road.